Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's Sheelin, and I have my best friend here with me, Yasmin. We're gonna do like a chit chat, sit down video, just talking about like our journey when it comes to like dating and sex and all of that, and how that's changed for us since like walking with God and trying to like honor Him in the way we move in those areas. So yeah, stay tuned for the video. So yeah, we're both in our 30s, so a lot of things have changed over the years for me personally.
Things have changed for me too, especially like dating. My dating life is pretty much non-existent. I don't know.
No, same here. Like my dating life is like in the negatives right now.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too.
Right
Honestly, at first it was like, for me, it was intentional because I was in like a toxic relationship for a few years, and I just felt like I needed to take some time off in dating period just to like really learn myself and like get back where I needed to be with God, because I felt like, you know, when you're in a relationship and you're having sex outside of marriage and you're doing all these things, like there's so much like damage that it causes, and I feel like it's important to take that time away from yourself and like heal before you move on to like someone else, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm okay with it, with it too, because I just wanted to work on myself and my relationship with God. So
exactly. And I was like, I would say, I don't know, like in my like kind of like I guess my single season, because I feel like some things that have like changed for me, like in that season I felt like I like really spoiled myself a lot. I really just spent a lot of time myself. I really enjoyed like not dating, not having to call anybody, not having to like consider anyone else. Like I really enjoyed that. Like I guess in a sense, and it may sound bad, but just like being selfish, but then not really, because it was like something that was needed. Personally, I've always been the type to be in like long-term relationships, like I like 4 years, 5 years, you know what I mean? So it's like one of those things where it's like, all right, you need to take a break. Especially after like multiple toxic relationships, I was like, yeah, I'm in my late 20s now. It's time to like pause and focus on like what really matters. And that was like building my relationship with God.
like I don't mind being my single season, because I'm, you know, continuing to build my relationship with God and trying to grow myself as well, so that when I do meet my husband, like I'm ready for that.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just more so building my relationship with God and I'm still enjoying my single season.
And it's funny too, like I don't know if I'm the only one, but like in a sense, sometimes I feel like the way I think is kind of like a guy, because like I was also more like, I want to be in a certain place in my career first. Like I want to make a certain amount of money first before I get married, before I have kids. And it's funny how God works, because he was like, no, you just need to start preparing now. And it's funny because like I've always wanted, like I said, I've always wanted those things before. And then it's like you get the money, you get the career, you get the kids, you get the husband, you get the, you know what I mean? Like this checklist. And I was like, I sound like Molly. But no, you like have like this checklist of things, or in this specific order. And it's funny because it's like, I feel very strongly like the person God has for me is a part of my purpose and like my career. So it's like one of those things where it's like, it may not go like how I thought it was gonna go, where it's like, oh, you're like, you've reached a certain place in your career, or you know what I mean? You've reached your peak basically for like, you know, settling down and getting married and having kids. So it's like, I feel like that's one thing God has kind of like shown me, like I need to be flexible when it comes to that. Like I may not be where I want to be before I like get married and start like having a family and stuff.
Yeah. I think just as like a woman, like you want to have like your own, like you grew up kind of like
Yes.
just being taught to have like your own and everything. So then you're like, oh wait, I'll wait till you know, I have my car, my house, like my career together before I get married. But it's true what you said. It's like sometimes it's not gonna be like perfect timing.
Exactly. And I feel like that's with anything though. That's with your career. Like, I feel like that's with anything, especially when you're depending on God and trying to do it God's way. You're not trying to like force things. A lot of times it does go out of the order that you had in your head. So that's kind of like where I've been with my single season. Like I ain't gonna lie, when COVID first hit, like I did try to peek my head back outside for when I think it was like what 2020, 2021. And like, it's kind of when I was like, kind of just trying to start dating again. And I was like, it's ghetto out here. So I kind of like just pulled back, and I was just more so trying to like focus on like my move to Cali and all of that. So I had just started like a new career, and I don't have time for this. My career was like super demanding. Like our hours, we were in the same field, and our hours were just like insane. Like I didn't really have the time to like date like that. But when I would try to like entertain, you know, a couple of people, it was just like, I'm not feeling this. Like, this is a waste of my time. I can tell this isn't going on anywhere. Or two, I feel like once you reach your 30s and you like meet someone and you just know like, this is not the one. I can't just entertain you just to be entertaining you. Like, I need to know like there's some kind of value coming out of this, as far as like, it's not like using somebody for money or nothing like that, but as far as value, I mean like, this is a possible spouse. Like this is a possible, if someone's giving you all these red flags and stuff up front, it's kind of like, why are you even entertaining them? And I feel like sometimes people just do that just to say they have somebody. And me, I'm the complete opposite. Especially at this point, maybe in like my early 20s, like I really wanted to be in a relationship and stuff. But like now it's like I'm not desperate for it. I'm like, yeah, I desire marriage and kids, but I'm not willing to settle and just like force things to work that aren't meant to work. The man that I would marry, he definitely has to be a man of God, and that's like number one. I have like other little things that I like want to, but just like that's like the first thing. And that can be tricky too, because sometimes like him just going to church is not enough. Like he needs to have like a real relationship with God, and in that relationship he needs to be able to like we guide each other or help each other get closer to God, not like someone that's gonna put me in a place where I'm like drifting away from God because I'm doing things that I shouldn't be doing, or I'm involved in things that I shouldn't be involved in.
That's true. You want somebody to like be able to cover you and vice versa.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, having meeting someone who has like a real relationship with God is really important to me too. Because my last relationship, you weren't really like focused on that.
Right. Same. Oh my God. Are you like open to dating now?
I am, but I'm still like, I guess maybe it's been so long too. You're just kind of like, I'm like, well, if God, you know, placed someone in my life now, that's fine. But I'm not necessarily like actively trying to pursue a relationship right now.
I feel like I'm in a place where I'm kind of ready for a relationship, but it's like at the same time I was like I know there's certain things, I don't know, like I said, I feel like I'm in a place personally where I'm coming out of like my single season, and like God has just shown me like some things that I had to work on like before getting married and having kids. And like for me, one of those things is like my patience, because I'm not the most patient person. I feel myself like getting better slowly, but like yeah. It's like I feel like to you, if you're like expecting marriage or whatever, I feel like sometimes women focus so much on like the husband and this, that, and the third, that in the meantime they're not doing what they need to do to prepare for him. And for me personally, I just been asking God to like reveal to me like what I need to work on, and he's done that. And you know, helping me like improve certain things like before becoming a wife and a mom.
Yeah, just like for me, I know like I'm not a selfish person, but just like working on like being less selfish, that makes sense. Like,
right,
you know, just being able to cover somebody else and like
and considerate
and like be considerate of others, and just like showing that type of like love and affection, and just being that rock for that person. Just like wanting to work on being that for like my husband and then my kids.
That's funny because I feel like that's something you're really good at. Like, I feel like you're very like selfless and like you always put others first. So I feel like you do really good with that. Like me on the other end, like I feel like, okay, I'm gonna say like when I'm in a relationship, like I really do like give my all. Like I really go in, but it's like outside of that, sometimes like I can get, especially when I'm like overwhelmed with my own life, that's when I struggle. Like if everything's Gucci on my end, then it's like it's easier for me to like pour into other people. But like I don't really feel like this is something that has like affected my relationships, but it's just
kind of feel like I'm still in that like mindset of like I have to have everything together first before I meet someone, or like God placed someone in my life. But I know that he knows what he's doing, so
right,
it's kind of like one of those things that you just wait on.
Right. Right.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, because it's like I'm in a season in my life where I feel like God is really showing me who's in control, and like teaching me. I'm the type of person like I like to know A, B, C, D, and like God is teaching me like no, like, it doesn't work like that. And like I'm a planner, so I have to like, you know, like organize everything and like, okay, this is gonna happen, and then this is what's gonna happen next, and then after that, like this is what's gonna happen. And then I remember my therapist, like she told me, she was like, one thing I really admire about you is that you're very strategic, and I am. I really am. And it's like sometimes I drive myself crazy with it, which is, it's a good thing, but to a certain extent, especially as a Christian, like you have to have like faith, and you have to like trust God's path for you sometimes. And sometimes I get so caught up in like what I want and how I want it to play out, and I have to remind myself like it's how God wants it to play out. So I'm like, okay, God, this time you do it. Like I'm not doing it. It's like I know what I'm attracted to and like that kind of stuff or whatever, but at the same time I'm like, God, I'm allowing you to bring the right person. Like, yeah.
That's probably just, well, that's the best way.
Exactly. You save yourself a lot of trouble.
A lot of soul ties.
Exactly. Heartache and confusion, and yeah. And the other things that you were bringing up, soul ties, is like, since like being on my journey with God, like I have stopped having sex over the last couple of years, and just like waiting to meet my husband and do it God's way. And I'm gonna be honest, like it has been very challenging at times, but at the same time, like I feel like it's easy. It's not easy. I'm not gonna say it's easy at all because it's hard, but I feel like sometimes as like Christian, especially young Christians, we want to do like, we focus on the blessings, what God can do for us, this, that, and the third. But when it comes to us like doing the things that we have to do and respecting God's word and like honoring those things in our life, like we don't do that, or at least try to. It's kind of like, okay, well, this is what I want to do. Like, no, you got to do the hard stuff too. And no, like, who wants to wait?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who wants to like wait to have sex? Like, sex is a beautiful thing, especially the way that God intended for us to have it, like with our spouse. It really is a beautiful thing. But I feel like we want God to bless us with the husband. We want God to do this, that, and the third, but we don't want to like do the work on our end, like stepping away from the sin that could be blocking your husband. Like, you could literally be entertaining someone that is not even for you, and your husband can't pursue you because you entertaining, you sleeping with such and such. And it's just like, at the end of the day, it's like, I also am at the point where I'm like, I don't feel like anybody deserves me in that way besides my husband. And it's like, in a sense, I can say like my desires kind of changed.
That's true. Like, after my last boyfriend, I stopped having sex too, just to work on myself and to work on my relationship with God. And plus, like, when you're not doing it God's way, sex can make everything just complicated. So, just kind of like taking a step back and like focusing on my relationship with God, that really does help. Yeah, for real. Because it's like, I feel like when I look back on like when I was like doing it my way and I was like having sex, when I was having sex outside of marriage, like there was so much confusion there. The guys that I was like dealing with at the time, it's like at the end of the day, like I dealt with them for most of them for like years. You know what I mean? And I feel like when you have sex outside of marriage, it creates like this blur. Like, you can't even see things correctly. Like, and you put up with way more. Like, when I look back at like some of the situations I put up with, it's just like, it was only because I was like intimate with that person and I stuck around longer just because I had that soul tie. And I'm just like, no, I don't like that. Like, now if I do talk to a guy, like I know quick, like this ain't gonna work. This is not my husband, because I don't have like that veil over me, like clouding my judgment. Like, I can clearly think like, no, this is not it. And it's just more than looks now. Like, as you get older, like you're not necessarily just looking about looks.
Right.
You're not like focused on like lust.
So. Exactly. And it's like, I can understand, like, you still have those temptations. Like, if you see a really good looking guy, like, don't get me wrong, like I still am faced with temptations and stuff too. I feel like that's just a part of like human nature. But at the same time, it's like learning to control yourself and through like God's help. And I feel like a part of me, one of the reasons I kind of like struggled at one point too, because I was trying to do it on my own. And like, I was like, man.
Because you're afraid of what?
I was trying to like, no, I mean, I was trying to like fight temptation on my own, and not like, no. I needed God's help with that. 'Cause you haven't practiced like controlling yourself prior to marriage, like it's only gonna be worse. It's only gonna be worse when you get married. So it's like, yeah. But yeah, honestly, that's been one of the best like life decisions for me, is like following God and just like waiting to have sex until marriage. How do you feel about like strip clubs and going to a strip club with your man? And yeah.
Maybe when I was younger I thought that was cute, but now I'm just like, I'm not with that at all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I've actually done that like when I was younger, like in my 20s. Y'all know when like King of Diamonds was like popping and like strip clubs are like the thing to do. And I just personally, I've never been big on strip clubs, but one time I did go with like my ex-boyfriend, and let me tell you, like, I felt the way the whole time. I was like, oh no, like like I was salty. I was like, oh no, I don't like this. Like, and at the end of the day, I feel like it's so unhealthy, because you're feeding this man like lust. Like, you're literally feeding him to it. Like, this lady is selling him a sexual like fantasy, and you're opening up your relationship for all type of stuff. That's why I tell people, like, when you do stuff like that, at the end of the day, like, you're already damaging, like, you're damaging your relationship.
You're opening yourself up.
Yes.
For other things, so then it gets further, like it goes further, like even like sexual things.
Because now he's like thinking, he 9 out of 10, if he going, he probably already entertaining other women, especially the enemy. Like, he hates marriage between like two godly people, and like he's gonna do everything to try to like destroy it. And it's like, when you know that, you already up one, because at the end of the day, you know how to move. And it's like, I can't open up these portals and gateways for something to come into my marriage and break that apart, you know what I mean? So that's one of the things that I'm just like, absolutely not. I don't even go to clubs anymore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Clubs still exist.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't even go to clubs anymore, but it's just like, it's just something that I see a lot of girls do with their spouse, or like,
trying to like keep
trying to keep things fresh. Like, girl, there's so many other ways to keep things fresh. Like, what are you doing? But it's also trying to like be like, in a sense, like his homeboy too, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's
like down.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like at the end of the day, like, it's unhealthy, and at some point it's gonna blow up in your face. Like, that's just my opinion on it. Now, like I said, this whole video, I'm coming from a Christian perspective. I'm a Christian, Yasmin's a Christian, so yeah, just to make that clear. If anybody like doesn't agree or whatever, that's fine, that's you. But this is how I feel as a Christian, based off of my beliefs, how I feel God wants me to operate. So that. How do you feel about like your type now? Like, pursue or like entertaining your type?
Entertaining my type, like, like, you still have a type, you just want that type to fit into a guy.
Right, for real. Like yeah.
Like, you're still attracted to certain things, but like, it's not as important as it was when you were younger. Like, oh, he has to have this and that. Or he has to be like, his teeth have to be a certain way. Like, you know, like, you still want like to be attracted to that person, but it's not the main like.
Right. When it comes to like, when I started going on this journey with God, when it comes to like relationships and trusting God for like my husband, I have to be honest, y'all, I was scared. I was like, Lord, like, if you bring me somebody looking like, I'm gonna be real. I told God this, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was like, God, please don't do it to me, because I'm not gonna be able to do it. Like, and I know looks aren't everything. It doesn't have to be like, because me personally, my type has always been like dark skin, tall, like Morris chestnut types. That's always been my type. But like, there's other men like I've seen that are attractive that aren't, I guess, that, yeah, in that box, but like I still find them attractive. So it doesn't have to necessarily be that. But when I first started doing this, I was just afraid God was gonna bring me somebody that was like, had a really good heart, but somebody I wasn't attracted to. It was like, I was just kind of like down about it for a while. I'm not even lying right now. Like, I was kind of concerned, but like now I'm just like, I genuinely don't feel like God would do that to me, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like God knows what I desire, like he knows what I want, like, and he'll fulfill that, you know what I mean? And it'll still have everything else he wants me to have on top of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I don't know.
I don't think he'll bring you anybody that's like, that you're not attracted to.
Yeah.
Like,
I would cry. I mean, I feel like everyone's beautiful.
beautiful.
I feel like everyone's beautiful. At the end of the day, like, you know what you're attracted to. And it's like, but at the same time, don't don't settle and don't put God in a box. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. How do you feel about now getting married in your 30s instead of like your 20s? Like,
I'm actually like really looking forward to getting married in my 30s. Looking back, like in my 20s, y'all, I told myself I was gonna be married like by 25. If I would have been married by 25, I would have been divorced. I'm being 100%, like, I would have been divorced. Just because I didn't really know myself like that. And I understand there are couples that can like learn each other and learn themselves along the way. But that's not me. Like, I needed that time apart to like learn myself, get right with God, and focus on what really matters. Before jumping into like a marriage. I feel like when I do get married, like I just feel more prepared now, and I know myself, and I'm more confident in like what I want and what I won't tolerate, and yeah.
Yeah, I definitely would have been ready in my 20s. It would have been like marriage certificate and then like divorce certificate, like
real quick,
like 1 month,
real quick. And not to mention that, like, not only that, but the person I wanted to marry, like, I probably would have been in jail. Like, listen, the person that I wanted to marry, and that's funny, like, because you look back on things like the people you wanted things to work out with, and then this, that, and the third, and it didn't work out with those people, whether it be like friendships or like relationships or whatever. It worked out for me every time. Every time. And I'm like, God, that's one of the things that kind of helped me on this journey too, is like knowing that God knows exactly what he's doing, and he knows what to take away and what to add. And yeah,
as heartbreaking as it is sometimes, you're like, his way is always the best way.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, I know if I wasn't mature enough to get married in my 20s.
And then I wanted to be a mom at 26.
Yeah.
And this is nothing against young moms. Like, I see some young moms out there doing their thing, so it's nothing to like bash young moms, but I know me.
Yeah, like for me personally, I wouldn't have been ready to have kids in my 20s at all. Like, there's no shade, like Sheila said, to women who have kids in their 20s. Just me personally, I know I wouldn't have been ready. Like, those kids would have been like trying to learn yourself and then raise kids. Like, to me, that's like really hard, because you're not really, well, for me personally, you're not really able to give them everything like that they'll need.
Right, exactly.
Because it's not just like, oh, you're like have kids, like just to have kids. Like, you're raising kids to like, in a sense, be better than you, and just be able to like, I don't know, so like live on their own, or just to succeed on their own in a sense, and be a good person, and like, you want them to have a relationship with God too. And so in your 20s, like in my 20s, like my relationship with God wasn't like the strongest. Like, same. I still believed in God and everything, but it just wasn't where it's at now. So,
same.
You know, I want to pass that on to my kids, hopefully, eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, same. Like, I definitely agree with you, because I'm like, no. At like 26, my priorities weren't straight. So imagine like me having kids on top of that. Like, it would have been a disaster. Like, screw them kids. I'm just kidding.
Like, go to your grandma.
Oh my God. But yeah, nah. Like, and it was funny, y'all. I wanted kids so bad at 26. I'm just like, man, no. God knew what he was doing. He was like, yeah, nah.
Like, you're going to be an auntie for a long time.
Yeah, he was like, nah.
Let's just get practice there, being an auntie and raising them and helping with them. And
And I have to be honest, I wasn't even a good auntie at 26 because like my sister used to call me like, hey, can you babysit? I'm about to go do such and such and such. I'm like, I'm busy. Like, I don't have time watching kids. Just kidding. I love my nephews and my sister, but like really I was like, me and my boyfriend about to go out to eat. Like, I don't have time. Like, no. And I love my nephews, but it's just like I was just at that age where I wasn't like
just being selfish.
There's
nothing wrong with that. Like, you're in your 20s, like you don't have any kids, like that's kind of like expected. I don't know.
So I can say like this is, I don't know. I feel like lately I've been getting like a lot of like confirmations from God that he's like preparing me for marriage. And I have to say like this kind of like goes back long time ago because I feel like I'm more so in that like headed in that season now, but like I feel like a while ago, like years ago when I was in a relationship with someone I shouldn't have been in a relationship with, God kept putting like marriage on my heart. But like I remember one night, I never told anyone this, but like I was in a relationship and like I had a dream that I was at my wedding getting married, and the man I remember is the man that I was marrying wasn't the man that I was dating. And I felt like that was just kind of like confirmation for me that like God has marriage for me, just not with this person. And it's like looking back, like I really thank God for showing me that, because I think too he just didn't want me to like give up on that dream, but like also knowing like this ain't the one. But I feel like lately, like I would say maybe in the last like 2 years, and when I spend time with God, or just like I don't know, in general, I've been feeling like God's been like showing me certain characteristics about my husband. Yeah, it's crazy how everything works. I don't know, but it's just like certain characteristics and certain things within me that I needed to work on for that he was going to need, if that makes sense. Are there any things important to you like that you want in your marriage that you didn't have like in relationships before?
Yeah, it's definitely just that other person having a relationship with God.
Yeah.
Because the last relationship I was in, like, he only wanted to like have a relationship with God because I did. He was like, oh, I'll go to church because you're going to church, not because like he wanted to go to church or like, wanted to have that relationship. So that was
for himself.
Yeah. So that was kind of like one thing that kind of not necessarily like a turn off, but that's one thing that I know I can say that I want in a husband. That he has a relationship with God, a closer relationship with God. That he's athletic.
I'm done. Yeah, I want somebody like I don't know if he has to be like. I mean, I've always dated athletic guys, if that makes sense. So I kind of it only makes sense that's. I guess that hasn't really changed, but.
And someone that's done the work on himself as well. Yeah. Like if it's therapy, whatever it is, just work on yourself and not bringing like past trauma into the relationship that I have to like
deal with,
solve or deal with. Because like past relationships, you always try to be that one that's like gonna like heal that trauma. It's like, oh, I can do that. I can like fix him or help him with it, instead of him just like, okay, going to therapy or like really figuring out like why he has those like specific issues.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like therapy is really important too, especially when you've dealt with certain things. Like we've all dealt with stuff, you know what I mean? Like throughout our lives, like if you just like exist. But I do feel like, especially doing like before marriage, doing like premarital counseling. And for me, it's very important to have like a Christian therapist. That's something I've always tried to strive for when it comes to like having a therapist, like making sure our beliefs line up and are the same. So yeah, those are some important things too.
That's a good point, premarital counseling. That's what I really wanted to do. Like premarital counseling before and then like during. So I think that's really important too. And I
It
think
is.
people think that like to have premarital counseling, you have to have problems.
Exactly. You wait till.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's not necessarily that. It's just like Sheila said, just make sure like your beliefs are aligned and that like you guys are just on the same page. So
It's important to be really careful with that. And I think a lot of times it's usually with like a pastor at your local church, but yeah, I feel like that's very important.
So how do you feel about having kids at like a later age, like in your 30s now? Because I know, you know, when we're younger, we want to have kids at like 23 and everything. So how do you feel about that?
I actually am looking forward to having kids later. You know, like honestly, I used to be kind of nervous about it. But I just feel like I can be so much of a better mom now. Like my kids to be able to grow up with their mom and dad in the home, and also like just have a positive example of like a healthy, godly like relationship. And I'm not saying like everything's gonna be perfect all the time, but just like there's healthy ways to do things, you know what I mean? Even disagreements, like, you don't have to cut each other's head off, you know what I mean? To like, you know, and it's those things like affect your kids too. So it's like just being able to manage certain things in a more mature way.
Yeah.
Because your kids see everything.
They do.
And they pick up on everything.
Like even like, I guess, knowing how to like have like healthy arguments and like you said, like screaming at each other and like seeing how your husband treats you and vice versa. Like, I think that's really important.
Exactly. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had fun talking about these topics with you guys. I kind of want to do more of these just as a way to like talk to you guys about more like life stuff, because I feel like I love fashion, I love beauty, but I also want to like be able to add value to other people and it not all be about like just me all the time. Like obviously this is my channel, my life, but at the same time it's like I feel like it's important to like do stuff to add value to other people and help them, you know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to do this video. For some reason this topic had just been on my heart to like talk about, so yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment below what y'all think about the topics, or like if y'all want to piggyback on any of the things we discussed in the video, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Bye.